They thought she was just the maid. They mocked her. They insulted her. They whispered behind her back, laughed at her shoes, her plain clothes, and the way she carried herself with quiet dignity. But they didn't know the truth. They didn't know who she really was. Because Maria Lopez wasn't just the maid. She was the owner of everything around them, including the very roof over their arrogant heads. Maria Lopez moved silently through the vast marble hallways of her mansion, an architectural masterpiece nestled on a hillside in Northern California. The estate stretched across 12 acres, filled with vintage art, handcrafted woodwork, imported chandeliers, and priceless antiques. She wore a simple gray uniform and flat shoes. Her dark hair was neatly tied back, her posture poised and humble. With a dust cloth in one hand and a spray bottle in the other, she looked like every other housekeeper you might pass without a second thought. And that was exactly what she wanted. Every morning, Maria woke early, before the sun rose over the hills, boiled her own tea, and prepared to work in her own mansion. Her staff, who knew the truth, watched her with admiration. Not one of them dared to question her reasons for doing what she did, because those who truly knew Maria Lopez understood. She was not trying to deceive anyone. She was testing them. It hadn't always been this way. Maria was born to immigrants who cleaned houses and washed dishes just to survive. Her mother scrubbed hotel rooms by day and took community college classes at night. Her father worked construction and saved every dollar for his kids' future. Maria studied hard. She earned scholarships. She rose from poverty to become the founder and CEO of Lopez Holdings, a multi-million-dollar real estate firm built not from privilege but perseverance. This mansion was her reward to her family. It wasn't just real estate, it was legacy. Her parents passed before they could see her success, but every carved detail in the home was a tribute to them. And so when investors expressed interest in buying the mansion, Maria didn't immediately say no. She needed to know what kind of people they were, whether they respected history, whether they understood value beyond money. She had an idea. The day arrived. A sleek black car pulled into the circular driveway. Out stepped 3 men in sharp suits and expensive watches. James, Richard, and Blake. They were all wealthy real estate investors, known for their aggressive tactics: buy low, demolish, rebuild high. The agent greeted them at the steps. "Welcome to the Lopez estate," he said with a forced smile. Maria stood in the background, polishing a vase. When the men saw her, they smirked. "Did the maid forget we're here for a sale, not a cleaning service?" James said, nudging Richard. "She's probably never seen a place this nice. Bet she's texting her cousins about it right now," Richard laughed. Maria said nothing. She smiled politely and returned to wiping the vase. They walked past her like she didn't exist. The tour began. They admired the grandeur of the entryway, the spiral staircase, the original paintings. Maria followed quietly, noting every remark. "This chandelier?" Blake asked. "Tacky. We'll replace it with something modern, maybe Italian crystal." "That fireplace needs to go," James said. "This old Spanish colonial vibe is outdated. We should make it sleek. Glass, chrome, and white marble everywhere." Maria's stomach turned, but her face remained composed. In the music room, they mocked the grand piano. "Who even plays these things anymore?" Richard said. "This can be the lounge area. Bar, LED lights, maybe a DJ booth for the hotel guests." Hotel. That word rang in her ears. This was not just a house. It was a home. Her parents' dream. Their pride. Their symbol of sacrifice. And they wanted to destroy it. In the dining hall, one of them accidentally spilled coffee on the Persian rug. "Oops. Made cleanup on aisle rich." Blake joked. Maria knelt down. As she cleaned, James leaned in. "You know, people like you don't belong in homes like this. You clean them. You don't own them." Maria looked up calmly and said, "Is that so?" She didn't raise her voice. She didn't show anger. But her eyes said enough. Finally, the group reached the last room, the study. A vast, beautiful space lined with dark walnut bookshelves, leather-bound books, and her father's old desk, which still bore a dent from when he dropped a hammer during construction. The agent cleared his throat. "Gentlemen, before we go any further, there's something I must share." Maria stepped forward. She removed her gloves. straightened her posture. Her voice was steady and clear. My name is Maria Lopez. I am not the maid. I am the owner of this estate. And the CEO of Lopez Holdings. The men froze. This mansion, she continued, is not just a building to be torn down. It is a home built on sacrifice, love and hard work. Everything you mock today, every room you disrespected, was designed to honor the people who raised me. They looked at each other, pale-faced, speechless. Richard finally stammered, "We didn't know." Maria raised a hand. "No. You didn't care to know. And that's worse." She took a slow breath. "This property is no longer for sale. I will not hand it over to people who treat others with arrogance and cruelty." The agent, smiling behind her, opened the front door. "Gentlemen," he said, "this way out." As the heavy oak door slammed shut, Maria turned and exhaled. She wasn't angry. She wasn't shaken. She was relieved. Because once again, she had chosen integrity over profit. Her assistant, Elena, approached her with a proud smile. "Do you think we'll find someone worthy of this place?" she asked. Maria looked around the study, then toward the sunlit hallway where her mother's portrait hung. "Yes," Maria said. "Someone who doesn't just see gold paint and real estate value. Someone who feels the soul in these walls." She walked to the piano room, sat down, and played a soft melody her mother used to hum while cooking. The notes echoed through the halls like whispers from the past. Later that evening, as the staff gathered for dinner in the kitchen, a tradition Maria had kept since the first day they moved in, there was laughter and warmth. Maria sat among them, no different from anyone else, passing plates and pouring drinks. "Miss Lopez," one of the younger maids asked shyly, "why do you still dress like us?" Maria smiled gently. "Because titles fade. Money fades. But how you treat people, that stays with you forever." She looked around at the faces of those who stood by her, not because of her wealth, but because of her heart. "They thought I was a nobody," she continued. "But they didn't realize dignity doesn't wear diamonds or designer labels. Dignity wears humility, kindness, and strength." That night, Maria stood alone on the balcony, watching the moon cast silver light on the garden her father had planted. She closed her eyes, whispered a soft thank you, and felt peace. She would continue testing hearts. Not to judge, but to protect what truly mattered. Because the true worth of a person is never in what they own, but in how they treat those they believe they don't need. They thought she was the maid, but she was the queen of the house. Silent, strong, and unforgettable.